What's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can make Nemzzz loops from scratch that people actually want to use. Not the shit that gets skipped over, the shit that gets you beats back and placements. So I'm going to show you what the loop sounds like, and I'm going to break it down in depth, show you how you can make your own. So as you can see here with the FLP, it's pretty simple, not a lot going on, but we've got a couple of layers, so I'm going to break each layer down. First off, we've got this main piano outside of contact. It's the Shoe Factory Grand piano. And so I've just played in this MIDI, which I'm pretty sure is either a minor 9th or 7th, one or the other, but it sounds pretty good. That's all that really matters. And it sounds like this. Now with the MIDI, it is, I don't know what the chord is, it just sounds good. I'm not very good with music theory. But instead of the second section, it's just inversions of the chord that I've already made. As you can see, they all fit in. Playing around with inversions and stuff, the kind of rule of thumb I use, just play around with it until it sounds good. So I didn't grow up on music theory or any of that shit, so just kind of go with the flow and make it sound good. So for the next preset, I use some strings outside of contact. It's the Albion Solstice circular strings. And once again, I copied the MIDI over and then got rid of the 2 root notes for the second area, and that sounds like this. So for the next sound, I got a bass outside of contact. It's a Scar B Rickenbacker bass, the Raven preset with 2 tone knobs, both turned all the way down. And I played in this pattern, which sounds like this. And just repeats over. And as you can see, I've put this little lick in here, which kind of fills in the space. If you play these 3 sounds together, you can hear the context. Fills in the gap, a little bit of ear candy. It's all about filling up your sample with things like this, things that catch the listener's ear, kind of sets it apart from everything else. You want to give your samples personality and structure and identity to them. I'm just going to ramble. Just make it sound good. It's pretty simple. So I just added this bass, complements the sounds, gives it a root end to it, makes it sound good. Next up, I got this Rhodes outside of Analog Lab, and it is the nostalgic Rhodes preset from the Ain Sounds Allure Analog Lab Bank. Fuck, that's a tongue twister. And again, it's playing the same chord as the piano MIDI, and that just sounds like this. And as you can hear now, with context with the rest of the sounds, it sounds like this. Filling the sounds on top of the bass lick, just adding some real subtlety but nice areas to the sample. Again, just filling it in with things that sound nice. I mean, that's basic music producing. Make it sound good. Next up, I've got this high string out of BBC Symphony Orchestra. Nothing special, just giving the sample a little bit of a roof, tying it all down together with a nice high-end touch. Gives it a bit of a vintage sound as well. And now the sample together sounds like this. Sounding pretty good, and it's all about adding these top layers on top of the sample, but not going too far. Because when you're making samples, you want to leave room for the drums and especially the artist. That is the crucial point. So it's got to find that sweet spot within keeping textures in it, keeping your own personality with the loops in it, but also keeping room for other people to do their job. As a sample maker, your job is not to do the complete product. It would be nice. So next up, I found this atmosphere out of Splice, these saxophones kind of playing this nice atmospheric loop, and matched it to the key of the sample, and it sounds like this. In terms of the effects, added a pretty reverb just to space it out a bit, and then some shaper box to have it panning from one ear to the other, get that atmospheric sound going. And so for the main area of the sample, which is all kind of based around this saxophone lead, I got this out of Splice. 95% of my live stuff, I get it all out of Splice. It's just the best. And so as you can see, it's a pretty long sample, so I just chopped it up to make it sound good with the sample, fit alongside of it, and it sounds like this. In terms of the effects on it, they do play a big role, because if you can hear it without the effects, it sounds like this. Very dry, doesn't fit in well, doesn't sound too good. But I added this compressor from Arturia's Tube STA, slow and warm bass preset, nothing changed. A Puigtech EQ from Waves, the Lavine track warmer, whatever the guy's name is, sorry if I butchered it. And then a Valhalla vintage verb to space it out, give it some reverb, fit into the atmospheric sound of the sample. And then finally just added this perk loop from 44th Floor Textures and Perks accent kit, and it just sounds like this. Just a really subtle perk loop with some texture going on in the background to fill out the rest of the sample, and now the sample sounds like this. In terms of the master chain of the sample, I just added on the tape melodifier and the fat analog preset, played around with some of the knobs. You can copy the preset here. It's pretty good on everything. I mean, I use it on a lot of things. The J37 stereo on the initial opening preset, and then just an EQ to bring down some of the low basses and then boost up the highs, make it a little bit more crispy.